Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of May 22nd, 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. It is a very active astrological week with planets on the move and key moments as part of larger cycles. So let's take it one at a time. As we begin the week, we've got Mars connecting in harmony with Pluto. Now, this is Mars at the very end of the sign of Pisces, and one of the last really big important energies moving through the sign of Pisces for now. Of course, it is going to be later this year, once we get into October, just in time for Halloween, that Jupiter will retrograde back into the sign of Pisces to kind of wrap up loose ends until we get into December, and Jupiter moves back into the sign of Aries, where he is now. There is a Jupiter special horoscope up, and I will be sure to link to it below. I hope that you're enjoying that video. But where it comes to Piscean energy, this is kind of the last big moment where we understand the power of sacrifice and surrender, and especially where that sacrifice is done out of love and compassion, where that surrender is done in complete faith and connecting to higher meaning. Well, this is where that much more purpose can be found. This energy of Mars sextile Pluto is incredibly empowering. This is about identifying where it is that we desire change, where it is that we're ready to cultivate focus, and through our own effort, experience blessings, experience transformation, experience improved circumstances as a result. The fact that this is happening right around the same time that we have a beautiful alignment, a harmonious alignment between the Sun and Jupiter, well, it does suggest that we are being very connected to our own power. We understand how optimism and harnessing the focus of mind and positive thought and positive words can help us in regards to where it is we're hoping for transformation to occur. In particular, I'm thinking about how Jupiter is now in Aries. So Jupiter in Aries transforms our understanding of spiritual expression. Wherever Jupiter goes, we idealize that energy. That energy becomes bigger. Now Jupiter is in Aries. It's all about the will, harnessing the will, focusing the will towards the outcomes we desire. It's all about ownership of our individuality and trusting our individual instincts. And this stands in contrast to Piscean energy, which is so much more about communion, empathy, sensitivity. With Aries energy, sure, there is a measure of empathy and sympathy that any sign can have, but it's much more self-contained, much more oriented around acting from a place of self-knowledge, which is a highly individual activity. And so we have almost simultaneously these energies playing out. The Sun in Gemini having to do with mind and word and synchronistic moments, aligning with Jupiter, us making it happen for ourselves. And then we have an energy that says, do your best and surrender the rest in faith, knowing that it'll count for something in the fullness of time. You know, I'm reminded of those moments when we may be going through a challenge, we may be going through a difficult time, but we have to tell ourselves that this will all make sense one day. We have faith that there is some higher wisdom playing out. And I know that a lot of us out there, when we reflect on our lives, we can see how there was always some higher wisdom playing out, even if we couldn't see it in the moment, even if we couldn't understand it at the time, and our circumstances were so frustrating. I have come across so many stories, myself included, but also the stories of so many people out there who talk about how they were in a career that they hated, in a job that they hated, and they were let go from that job. Sometimes they were fired. Sometimes they were downsized, for example, and asked to leave. But it ended up being something that maybe in the moment felt uncertain, in the moment felt like a disappointment, but actually sometimes right away, sometimes it took a little bit of time, but they come to realize that this was a massive blessing that took place for them, a huge blessing. And that certainly is the case. There are many moments in life when the uncertainties, the disappointments, the sadness ultimately give way to some of our most elated moments, some of the moments where we are lifted higher or most in alignment with a sense of a higher, more loving vision for our lives, more in alignment with what feels like self-actualization. Sometimes that can only come when we veer off path so much that it is only by being brought back that we have a sense of what it means to be in alignment, to feel that sense of deep satisfaction of being well used for the things we like about ourselves because we were forced to stop doing the things that we didn't like doing or that brought forward parts of ourselves that we didn't like. And so this is part of the promise as we begin this week. These energies now are what astrologers call sextiles, which means that they are harmonious alignments, but they ask for our participation. There are certain alignments called trines. These are easy energies, easy exchanges that ultimately elevate us, yes, but can just show up. We don't necessarily have a lot of control. They can make us a little lazy because we feel like things are always going to be good. But if things are always easy, then we don't understand the value of taking steps to strengthen ourselves. If things are always easy, we will never pursue activities that cultivate self-knowledge. It is only when we come out of a period that feels challenging that on the other side, we might find our most authentic selves. And that is part of the promise now. When it is a sextile, we sense that things could be better. Sometimes things don't feel as good as we know that they could. We have faith that they could. And so we are inspired to action. And as we take action, we cultivate that sense of improvement, which shapes us more than anything. Us taking action on our own behalf, well, those are the very types of endeavors that end up defining us in positive ways, sometimes for the rest of our lives. And so now here we are. As we start this week, it is Sextile City, right? I'm coining that phrase right now, Sextile City. And what that means is that there's a lot of energy here that is promising on the one hand, that is hopeful, that is helping us to identify what isn't working, but also encouraging us to own our power to move our lives in a positive direction. And a part of this includes with Mars at the very end of the sign of Pisces, and for that matter, Pluto navigating the late degrees of the sign of Capricorn. In some way, we understand that by taking action, we're also helping ourselves to wrap things up, wrap up some larger lessons at play. Now, we'll continue to wrap things up, quote unquote, in the coming months ahead, really, because of course, as I said, Jupiter will retrograde back into the late degrees of Pisces. And of course, it is going to be in March of next year. And this is something I'm going to remind you of again and again. Pluto is going to step into the sign of Aquarius. And so we are going to have Pluto hanging out at very late degrees of Capricorn and very early degrees of Aquarius next year and the year after as well. And this really is a big transition coming. And I've been saying to you, I know I did the decade ahead videos. I've been telling you guys again and again, the world we have at the end of this decade will be a very different world than we started the decade with. And so we're now sort of wrapping up these larger lessons with Pluto in Capricorn. Since 2008, we've been feeling that energy. All this Piscean energy at play right now. Mars right now, of course, accelerating. If you think about last week, Mars met Neptune in the sky, amplifying that energy. As we begin the week, Mercury retrogrades back into the sign of Taurus. And this is a pivotal moment of the larger Mercury retrograde season. I even made a short here on YouTube, a reel on Instagram, a TikTok on TikTok. I made a little video about this because I do think that this is where the larger wisdom of our current Mercury retrograde season really starts to come together for us in very powerful ways. And really, the key word there is power. As Mercury retrogrades back into the sign of Taurus, we'll first connect in harmony with Mars. And then, as we navigate further, it is going to be on Thursday that Mercury will perfect a connection with Pluto. But here's the thing. As we get late in the week, Mercury is slowing down to a standstill, going direct next week. And the week after will again perfect a connection with Pluto. And so I would invite you to think of this as an extended energy, because Mercury will not be too far away from, as astrologers call it, within orb of a supremely harmonious aspect, a trine aspect to Pluto. I see this as significant in a few different ways. So one way, as I said, it's seeing the larger wisdom of the larger Mercury retrograde season that we've been engaged in. Much of this Mercury retrograde is taking place or has taken place in the sign of Gemini. That's an air sign. It's very mind-oriented, communication-oriented. So communication went especially wonky, and the tools with which we communicated became especially wonky. But now that Mercury is retrograding back into an earth sign, into Taurus, it's an energy that's very visceral, an energy that is practical, that is embodied. And speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, that's energy of truth and the power that truth can grant us. And so this is an opportunity to be honest with ourselves as to the reality of our situation. Where have our thoughts supported the directions in which we desired to go? Where is it that our words have been used to affirm a healthy and happy reality? And where is it now that we're willing to take practical steps? Yes, changing our thought patterns is very practical, and it can be very meticulous as well. It is a journey to reprogram ourselves, as my Aunt Shireen says here on my YouTube channel. You've seen her many times here before. And so she talks about reprogramming ourselves and how that can be very diligent work, but ultimately strengthens us. The rewards are there for that work. But this is also about being honest with ourselves as to what we have manifested, what our actions have led us to manifest, and where is it now that we could perhaps be more strategic so that we could be more effective. This is also a chance to clear the air, to get to the truth, to speak about the things that otherwise may be difficult to talk about, all in the hopes of moving into alignment with what feels more real, what feels more honest, what feels more fueled by what the evidence is showing us. And so acting from a place of self-respect is a very powerful way to affirm a healthy self-concept, to affirm healthy self-love. Acting from a place of being willing to look at what it is that we've manifested helps us to take responsibility for our lives and our happiness. Now, we can learn from what we have manifested. That's the key here. We can understand ourselves more deeply as a result of what our reality is showing us. And at the same time, we can take responsibility for the things that we control and surrender what it is that we don't control. I think of astrology as a relationship. It's a conversation that we have with the universe. And in any relationship, there's that give and take, right? In any relationship, there's your will, but then there's this external will as well. And as part of creating happiness for ourselves, we're going to go back and forth. We're going to consider these other perspectives. And that ultimately fuels our own self-knowledge and helps us to understand what some larger lessons may be there that are playing out for us. And that's how astrology, in one way that astrology can help us to know ourselves more deeply, to strengthen ourselves, but also to be more conscious as we move through our lives. And so this is an opportunity to do just that, to just approach our lives more consciously, learn from everything that there is as part of knowing ourselves more deeply. It was Plato who said, "We contemplate the sky to cultivate wisdom." That's the point. That is the whole point. He says that in his book, Timaeus. And actually, his book, Timaeus, was incredibly inspiring to me. It is a mystical understanding of the creation of the universe. And my book, The Body and the Cosmos, takes that understanding and applies it to an astrological zodiac. So that's me being a nerd there with that book. But I just loved the ideas that he presented in this book so much. And so we contemplate the sky to cultivate wisdom. That's the whole point. And I think that when astrology is approached from that intention, it can be that much more rewarding. On Tuesday, Mars will move into the sign of Aries, and it is here in the sign of Aries that he will start moving towards Jupiter. Now, that conjunction is going to be perfected at the beginning of next week, and that conjunction is going to speak in harmony with next week's new moon as well. If you haven't seen your monthly horoscope yet, I would encourage you to do that here on my YouTube channel. That's where I talk about not just this conjunction, but how it's speaking to this new moon, how that may show up for you in your life. And so, having said that, this energy of Mars in its home sign of Aries amplifies its more independent side, amplifies its self-oriented side, amplifies the part of this energy that speaks to taking ownership for yourself and taking action on your own behalf to move your life in the direction you desire to go. There may be limits of what actions we can take, but we can identify something that we can do and take ownership for that and to approach it with enthusiasm and commitment and determination. Mars at home in Aries is able to bring forward its very best qualities, having to do with action, having to do with acting from a place of self-knowledge and from a place of confidence as well. You know, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It inherently has a pioneering energy to it, a connotation to it of new beginnings. And where it is that we desire a fresh start or new beginning, I think Mars moving into Aries is going to be this burst of energy that is going to help so many of us feel awake and wanting to engage life that much more. The fact that Jupiter's already here, the fact that next week Mars will meet Jupiter, I think it's only going to amplify this determination towards independence, this determination towards self-honoring, self-value, self-expression that more and more of us are going to find as we navigate forward from here. It will be at the end of the week that Venus will move into its home sign as well, the sign of Taurus. Now, I find this fascinating, I have to tell you. Mars in its home sign, Venus in its home sign, these two are considered cosmic lovers. They are repeatedly depicted together in mythology, in ancient Greece, in ancient Rome. And it's interesting because there's this notion when you look at these mythologies of how Venus is just so irresistible to so many of the gods. And Venus, just being herself, has a way of attracting attention and all kinds of good things into her life. That's the nature of Venus herself. She's able to bring forward these qualities that much more easily in her home sign of Taurus. But what's interesting about Mars and Venus is that when you read these stories and these ancient myths, what you see is Mars as the active principle. Mars can't resist her. Mars is going up to her. Mars is saying, come, let's go behind this curtain. Let's get it on, basically. Again and again, he's the one approaching her. But when you look at Renaissance art, what you see is almost the opposite. I mean, it's quite remarkable. You see Venus being the one approaching Mars. You see Mars laying back, Mars sitting back, allowing Venus to come to him. And so I think it's really fascinating how the depiction of these particular energies evolved and their myths evolved in terms of their depiction, but the mythologies themselves, the stories themselves have remained consistent. Mars is a principle of action. Venus is a principle of receptivity. Mars is about taking ownership for your own power and exerting that in the world. Venus is about knowing that you are worthy of allowing good things to happen, of attracting good things into your life. They both work together in a way because we can allow good things to happen, but we are empowered when we take action in support of those good things as well, or what it is that we deem good things. And so, having both Mars and Venus strong in the sky as we get to the end of the week, well, this is remarkable. I think that this is going to make our collective desires to connect with each other that much stronger. Our individual libidos likely are going to be that much stronger as well. On a collective level, we may see some of this celebrated. Desire, intimate connections with others, how people are dating or dating again and wanting to have that sense of meaningful and visceral and physical connections with others. I think all of that is going to come into focus for us as a collective more and more, especially as we navigate to the end of the week. And so it's Tuesday that Mars moves into its home sign of Aries. At the end of the week, Venus moves into its home sign of Taurus. But on the way there, Venus is making some interesting contacts while she still moves through the sign of Aries for almost the entire week. On Tuesday, Venus will connect in harmony with Saturn. And that can be a really nice energy. It's an energy of fidelity. It's an energy of love and respect, love and maturity coming together. Venus in Aries can be very impulsive. It can be very much about love at first sight. But speaking with Saturn in harmony, that energy ends up being tempered in some way. It calms down in some way. The energy ends up being one where, yes, we may feel drawn or attracted, but the qualities that feel like they draw us in very likely have to do with stability and maturity. We may find people who are patient and loyal to be especially attractive to us at this time. However, all of that flips on its head as we get to the end of the week. On Friday, oh boy, this really is, I think, perhaps the energy that a lot of us are going to feel very strongly. And this is Venus speaking with Pluto in a conversation of tension. This is what astrologers call a square. And this type of conversation can speak to, and I'm so sorry to say, but it does happen, love becoming manipulative, becoming involved in power games, power struggles, jealousy, a sense of unfairness. These are some ways this energy can transpire. Now, if you are approaching this energy consciously, it's an opportunity to cultivate awareness, to cultivate transformation, even when it's hard, to look at where we've been in love and what within us allowed perhaps unhealthy patterns to play out, why it was that certain patterns played out for as long as they might have, and how now we can in some way work to glean some wisdom, even if it's hard, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. With this energy, there can be very powerful attractions to other people. Those attractions will be decidedly inconvenient in some way. The people we are drawn to, we may be very clear, it's very obvious that they may be messy, that it really isn't a good idea, that it's complicated, that it's taboo. And yet, to resist is really hard. And that's because of Pluto. Some deep part of us knows where our learning is. And so we are that much more likely with this energy to go into a situation, eyes wide open, that we may know on some level really isn't evolved or elevated or good for us. Again, it's messy, it's complicated, and yet it is so alluring that it feels hard to resist. You know, a part of compulsion and obsession is addictive. That's the thing, right? There's a reason why some of us indulge certain relationship patterns. There's something in alignments with people and associations with certain people that feel complicated and messy, but we've identified it with the experience of our full emotion. which we identify with the experience of life itself. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be this way. An early Christian philosopher named Augustine actually wrote about this, and he spoke about how we've come to associate love with eros. And so we've come to associate love with passion. However, we can actually program ourselves to find certain qualities desirable, sexually desirable. We can train our mind through practice to look at qualities of loyalty, honesty, dedication, faithfulness, fidelity, and to be turned on by those qualities. That isn't our default. Our default programming is you look at someone, you get a rush of feeling, you get a rush of desire, and you want to pursue it. However, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be an unconscious process, according to St. Augustine. And I think that's part of the invitation here, but that allure is going to be darn hard to resist under a sky like this. If you've ever had the experience where you are in a moment and you look at the moment and you go, you know what, this really isn't a good idea, but I want to go with this moment. I want to see where it ends up taking me. Well, at least you're making your choices consciously. And I think that may be a choice that a lot of us are looking at and might be making as we approach the later days of the week, especially where it comes to things like love and desire and passion. Now, Venus sometimes has to do with money. Venus sometimes has to do with self-love as well. And that's where we want to be careful with this energy. Where it is that we are giving into indulgences that are not good for us in any kind of way, ultimately that doesn't fuel healthy self-love. And where it is perhaps that we need to be reminded of what self-love could look like for us, well, some of that reminder may present itself to us in some person, place, thing, or situation that is very hard to resist. What I love about this week for us, well, there's a lot here. It's a powerful astrological moment. I will tell you, it is a very active sky now. Being in alignment with these different energies can be one way to feel that much more supported by them. And right about now, the universe is supporting our minds. It is supporting our will. It is supporting us to get in touch with the power that we have to focus on the outcomes that we desire. And that is going to be a deeply individual and a deeply personal process. The sky right now is saying, focus on the inner change. And in time, as a result of what changes within, everything can change in our lives for the better. Thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who subscribes, who shares, who hits the notification bell, who thumbs ups. All of it means so much. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month, with choose your membership rate. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, access to live events every full moon, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Link is in the description below. And I do want to take a moment to thank everybody who has been finding me and following me on TikTok, on Instagram, and has been enjoying the shorts that I've been posting here. So I basically have been mirroring on TikTok, on Instagram, and here in the shorts. Now, if you follow me on Instagram in particular, but on TikTok as well, some of the videos are more personal. Like, for example, I just went on this whole journey through Peru and Ecuador. Now I'm home in Canada. It's a very different energy here in the boonies. However, for 2 months, I was on the road and it was very fulfilling. I got lots and lots of video footage. And so I've made some videos about my trip. Maybe that'll be interesting and insightful to you. Outside of that, I've got a lot of astrology specific stuff as well. And I've been answering like FAQ questions by doing these quick videos also. So this is the time really to ask if you have any FAQ questions and you want me to make a quick video about it. Right about now, I am bursting with inspiration. So this is a really good time to ask. And so I hope that you will find me on TikTok, on my Instagram account. Links are in the description below. That's the best place to interact and to ask your questions. And thank you. Just thank you to all the people who've been finding me there. I'm so grateful for it. TikTok, I really feel like I'm starting from the beginning. I mean, I've got over 161,000 people on YouTube, and TikTok is just a couple hundred, and yet it's really exciting and it's really fun to make those little videos. So I've really been having fun with it and enjoying it. And I hope that that shows, and I hope that you'll find me there on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you. Thank you for your love, your support, all of it. It means so much to me. Thank you to the superstars, the students, the friends, the fans, each one of you. Thank you so much. Synchronicity University has some incredible classes coming up this summer that are right now. Choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class with Synchronicity University's very famous Choose Your Tuition rate that I'm so proud to present. I'm so proud to make such extraordinary astrology classes and lessons and teachers accessible to the masses. Like, that really is the point of Choose Your Tuition rate. And we've got some incredible people coming up. And so this July, we've got two specific programs. One is the July Speaker Series, and another is Marc Laurenson. So let's start with the July Speaker Series. Some are my friends, some are astrologers that I've observed and I think are brilliant, and I'm so excited to share them with you now. And so we have got superstar astrologer Christopher Renstrom, and he's going to be teaching on Chiron in the astrology chart. We have got my friend Christina Divine, or Christina Divina. I just know her as Christina. She has been a friend of mine, a source of wisdom, a source of love for so many years. She gave so much love online to me before I even met her. And to see her grow as an astrologer has been so rewarding to me. And so she is going to be coming and teaching about Neptune. So another really popular topic as well. We are going to have my friend Clarissa Dolphin, and she is back. She taught previously with the joint event that I did, Synchronicity University did with the London School of Astrology. And so she's back, and she's going to be teaching on the South Node. And so there's so much attention paid to the North Node. I think it's going to be so rewarding to explore the South Node at this time. Janae Anthony is going to give us the definitive exploration of sex in the astrology chart. She's going to do that in 90 minutes. I think that's pretty exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that class as well. She's somebody I saw on Stormy Grace's channel teaching a class with her YouTube Academy. And I just thought she was so good. I was like, oh, I want this person to teach at my school. And I'm so glad that she accepted the invitation. So I'm really looking forward to having her. And my friend Alexis Duong. Now, I actually met Alexis back in 2018 at the UAC conference. I am a big believer. If you are serious about astrology, you got to go to the conferences. Now, of course, it depends on your chart, right? You got to think about your own chart. But I'll tell you, the connections you make in person, the friendships you forge with people who understand you on that level of astrology, it is so valuable. I can't tell you how many opportunities I got, especially in the early years, as a result of the people I met in conferences, and how many people I've given opportunities to through meeting them and having these informal interactions as well. And so I mentioned this because I'll tell you a little bit later about the conference events coming up. But let me mention now, Alexis. She is going to be bringing in this philosophical element about astrology and what to do if you're nihilistic and you think the world sucks. How can you still believe in a positive astrology? She's going to be exploring all of that. So she is a nerd like me, and I'm so excited to hear her nerd out on the philosophical side of astrology. So we've got this incredible session that is planned out. The July Speaker Series at Synchronicity University. You really are going to learn from some of the best and brightest minds in astrology today for as low as just $5 a class. with Choose Your Tuition Rate. It truly is incredible. So I hope that you will join us. Synchronicityuniversity.com, limited time Choose Your Tuition Rate. Link is in the description below. Synchronicity University presents the one and only Marc Laurenson, superstar astrologer of the Sydney School of Astrology, one of the most famous astrologers in Australia, is coming back to Synchronicity University. This time he's teaching a 5-week course. Right now, it is Choose Your Tuition Rate, as low as just $5 a class, the soul's mission in the birth chart. I think so many people are so excited and passionate about understanding the soul's mission in the birth chart. And really, Marc Laurenson is a master teacher. The way that he helps you to understand, regardless of your level of astrology, the way that he teaches is so accessible, so easy to understand. He really is someone who I am so proud to have at my school, and somebody who is going to help you to see your chart with this whole other depth, this whole other understanding. I actually had Marc Laurenson at Synchronicity Web TV. And when I was interviewing him for the last class that he taught at Synchronicity University, I think that was last year, just that conversation I had with him helped me to see my chart completely differently and helped me to find love and appreciation for the things that I had kind of cursed about my chart. He's just that brilliant. He gives you a new perspective that is rooted in love and wisdom. He's doing such great things, such an asset to the world of astrology. I'm so proud to have him. So again, Choose Your Tuition Rate is on now, as low as just $5 a class to learn from the caliber of teacher of Marc Laurenson. This really is an unheard of rate. I hope that you'll check that out at synchronicityuniversity.com. Link is in the description below. And live events are back, and this coming weekend, I am going to be at NORWAC. Yes, I'm going to be at NORWAC. This is so exciting. I'm teaching or have 2 talks, and then I have a keynote. So 3 moments to get to hear me speak at NORWAC. Now, NORWAC conference is taking place in Seattle. It is sold out, but there is a waiting list. I have 1 spot left. If you want an in-person consultation, you can reach out to my team on my website, nadiyashah.com, and there they can help set that up for you to confirm a consultation. But if you just want a hug, we can make that happen. If you want to come and hang out with other astrologers, and I happen to be one of the astrologers, and we get a moment, I would love that as well. I am just so excited and so happy to meet people again. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with friends and fans and superstars and students, all of you out there in Seattle. This coming week, like in a few days, I am going to be on a plane to Seattle. It has been so long since I was at an astrology conference. I cannot wait. I'm just so very excited. And I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you out there. So I hope that you'll join me. If you can't join in Seattle, know that and just kind of save the date. It is going to be in the second part of August that I'm going to be at the ESAR conference in Denver, Colorado. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. I'm looking forward to connecting with friends and fans out there also. So wherever you happen to be, I will meet you. If you happen to be near me, I would love that. And of course, more live events are going to be coming as we move forward, but online events are always available as well, including my own classes at Synchronicity University, which are happening right now as part of the spring session. So I hope that you'll join me online, in person, wherever we find each other. We can have a moment that I hope will be very rewarding for all of us out there. And thank you. Thank you so much. Now, I did want to quickly tell you about this Protect Pluto. This is actually merch from an Instagram account that I follow. It's called Keats Did It. Keats Did It. And I became aware of Keats a while back. He has some astrology content on his channel, but he's got lots of different content like music, and he's an actor, and he has a Twitch and all of that stuff. So he's really doing so much out there. He's a creative person. I loved his astrology content. I just loved it so much. He has done videos on Mercury retrograde. He has done videos where he is all the different planets, and the personalities he shows encapsulates the planets so perfectly. And I just think that he's so brilliant. And so he was offering merch a while back, and I wanted to support what he does because I liked his work. So I purchased the sweatshirt and the t-shirt. And so I think he comes out with merch from time to time. I think it's different from time to time, but you can check out his Instagram. Keats did it. If you want to figure out how to get your own or to get something else from him that is also astro correlated or maybe not astro correlated. But yes, I purchased this myself out of love and support for his work and his brilliance. Now I wanted to add, look at this, protect Pluto. I love that. This is why I bought the sweatshirt, so I can get that part of it too. I love it. And thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love and your trust. I look forward to meeting you next weekend and being online with you next weekend from Seattle. So I'll be recording the week ahead video for YouTube from Seattle. And it's likely that I'll record the Superstar videos as well from my hotel room in Seattle. So I think it's going to be fun all around. And I look forward to bringing you along whatever journey I take. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. Thank you to the sponsor for this video, Keen. Visit trykeen.com/Nadiya to get your first 10 minutes for only $1.99 with one of their trusted advisors. I too had a chance to try Keen when I was approached to have them as a sponsor. I loved my reading, and I only recommend services I trust. Visit trykeen.com/Nadiya to get your first 10 minutes for only $1.99.